the Milwaukee Brewers are doing the impossible. Since opening day of the 2025 season, no team has as many wins or a better win percentage than the Brew Crew. They have won 3 straight division titles and are gunning for their 4th, but how? They're doing this without a superstar payroll and no extravagant spending sprees. Nope, this team is just making good decision after good decision, finding overlooked talent and squeezing every ounce of value from its roster. Oh, and then there's the lab. More on that later. For now, it's time to admit that the Milwaukee Brewers are terrifying. Now, where else is there to start than the incredible difference in spending behavior between the Brewers and their rivals? See, the Brewers don't operate the same way as some of the other giants of the sport. The teams closest to, but not quite as successful as the Brewers in recent years in terms of total wins include the Yankees and Phillies. These are the big market, massive spenders of the league who ensure success with deep pockets and proven all-star signings. Milwaukee? Well, they've been frequent sellers and are in the bottom half of the league in spending despite their rock-solid roster. In fact, Milwaukee spends so little that if MLB does implement the recently suggested salary floor and cap, the Brewers would be forced to spend more. In other words, the Brewers are below the proposed salary floor while their rivals are above the cap. Before we get into the roster though, this era of Brewers baseball starts at the top, and you cannot begin to tell the story of this Brewers team without mentioning one of the great betrayals in recent MLB history.
That's the real question. What happened today? Well, this morning, Craig Counsell reportedly signed a deal to become the next manager of the Chicago Cubs. Counsell is the Brewers' winningest manager in franchise history, and the writing was on the wall that he might leave, but nobody expected him to go to the Brewers' arch rival.
Yep, Brewers fans were furious when this went down in 2023. Craig Counsell wasn't just a manager. He played for the club and was the franchise's career wins leader. He was a Wisconsin guy. He was a Brewer. Then he left for a rival, a bigger salary and what he thought would be a better job. Boy, was he wrong. Enter Pat Murphy, a charismatic bench coach who has seen it all in this sport, who was promoted to manager after Counsell left. Since getting the job in 2024, he's done nothing but win. Under Murphy, Milwaukee won the division in 2024, 2025, and is on its way to another title in 2026. Nobody has been as good as the Brew Crew since he took over. But how? The backbone of this Brewers team is its pitching. Okay, so injuries have been a concern. Brandon Woodruff and Kyle Harrison are both out, Quinn Priester hasn't played all year, and The Miz sidestepped the All-Star game with arm fatigue. Even so, this remains a lethal, deeply impressive unit. But how? As we now know, the Brewers can't go and simply buy an ace like the Yankees did with Garrett Cole or the Dodgers did with, well, over half of their rotation. It's no secret that the Brewers front office has done tremendous work scouting and drafting pitching prospects. The Brewers drafted Corbin Burnes in the 4th round. He won a Cy Young in Milwaukee and was traded to the Orioles for a huge return. They drafted Devin Williams in the 2nd round. He won Rookie of the Year, 2 Reliever of the Year awards, then got traded to the Yankees in 2024 for a massive return. They traded for Josh Hader before he even made a big league appearance. He went on to win 4 Reliever of the Year awards in Milwaukee and, you guessed it, was traded for elite prospects. Same story for Freddie Peralta. He was signed before ever making it to the bigs and turned out to be an all-star, their ace for years and a valuable trade piece. Most recently, and most importantly, they got this guy.
He's done it! A complete game shutout for Jacob Misiorowski. We're witnessing greatness right here in just his 2nd year in the big leagues, on his 1-year anniversary of the big leagues. 95 pitches, faces the minimum, the most impressive pitching performance I have ever seen.
Jacob Misiorowski fell to the 2nd round in 2022, where the Brewers took him with the 63rd overall pick. Now he's the best pitcher in the sport and one half of Milwaukee's Twin Terrors alongside Kyle Harrison. Misiorowski is rapidly becoming one of the faces of MLB. The Miz is simply unhittable. His fastball, which has reached 105.5 miles per hour, is the showstopper. His location and use of the breaking ball off of it, though, is what makes him truly special. He leads the league in strikeouts per 9 with 13.5 and ERA with 162. Baseball Savant grades him as the single best pitcher in the sport, and he dominates in every advanced stat under the sun. But the great news for Brewers fans is that it's not just him. is it? Kyle Harrison, at least when fully healthy, is also a menace, and his arrival to the team is another example of how this organization has been able to keep dominating. Remember Devin Williams? Well, in 2024, the Brewers traded him to the Yankees for an infielder named Caleb Durbin. Then, in early 2026, this happened.
We're revisiting the Brewers-Red Sox deal.
Wow.
Milwaukee got Kyle Harrison, and Nays just said the year before the deal, the Brewers got Quinn Priester from Boston. The year before. And D-Row, Craig Counsell was talking about Kyle Harrison's fastball. How it's just different. And Murph said it too post-game. He said his fastball changes the game.
They're right. Harrison's four-seam slurve combo has changed a lot of games in the Brewers' favor in 2026. He boasts an 8-2 record, a 3.01 ERA, and already has 101 strikeouts and 83.2 innings pitched. Harrison's fastball ranks in the 88th percentile for run value, and his newly worked breaking ball? That's in the 95th percentile. Wondering how? It's all thanks to the Brewers' brilliant pitching development.
He was all the way, all the way on the third base side, Robert. Now he's moved to the middle of the rubber. What has that helped him with? He's definitely adjusted. He's much lower arm angle wise too in San Francisco, and he's gotten more on top in 2026. Two things it shows to me. Moving to the middle of the rubber now gives his slurve a chance.
Scouting is one thing, but how do all of these guys become great MLB pitchers? How is it that the Brewers continue to pump out superstar arms? Their secret is, in fact, a secret. A pitching facility, simply known as The Lab, is their superpower. It's a small area at their spring training facilities supposedly loaded with technology and equipment, and they keep it so close to the vest that no outside media is allowed in. Whatever they're teaching in there, it works. See, Misiorowski struggled in the minor leagues. He walked nearly 15% of the batters he faced, and many projected him as a bullpen guy, if he ever even got a chance in the majors. Now, he's leading the Cy Young race as a starter. Kyle Harrison, Milwaukee's other ace, had an ERA north of 4 as a San Francisco Giant. Then, after a spell in The Lab, he set a franchise record for ERA through his first 10 starts in Milwaukee. Quinn Priester posted negative WAR in 2023 and 2024, then was traded to the Brewers. After he underwent his transformation in The Lab, he went 13-3 as a starter, recording a 3.32 ERA in over 157 innings his first year in Milwaukee. The bullpen, too. McGill, Hall, Ashby, Uribe, Patrick, Anderson, the list goes on. They all have a sub-4 ERA, are a top 5 pen in the league statistically, and, most importantly, have all drastically improved since arriving. Still don't believe me? Take a look at the guys I mentioned earlier who were traded. Burns, Williams, Hader, Peralta, all of them have gotten worse since leaving Milwaukee. This secret lab and the coaches are cooking something special. Clearly, this is a pitching staff full of what we used to call underdogs. Now they are dominating the best hitters in the world on a nightly basis. And the inverse could be said for the lineup. When you look at the top of the standings, you see the Dodgers, led by Ohtani and Freddie Freeman. You see the Braves with Ronald Acuna and Matt Olson. The Phillies have Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. Then you have the Brewers, led by Brice Turang, Jake Bauers, and Garrett Mitchell. The lineup doesn't have star power. In fact, it doesn't have much power at all. Milwaukee hits the 3rd fewest home runs in the league. They do score though. They have the 4th best scoring offense in the entire league. But how? Well, they play baseball the right way. The Brewers are top 5 in the MLB in hits, doubles, steals, and walks in 2026. And just like the pitching staff, they're doing it with a bunch of overlooked, scrappy underdogs. They drafted and developed Brice Turang, who leads the offense in WAR with 4. They developed Jackson Chourio, the 22-year-old who has been the heart of the lineup and launched 55 home runs in less than 3 years in the league. Same story for Mitchell, he's a Brewers draft pick. Then you have Jake Bauers, a name many fans don't even know yet.
Show you full screen. That is going to shock you. Weighted runs created plus leader since the beginning of May, and there is your guy, Jake Bauers.
He leads the team in OPS and home runs. We expect quite a few National League fan bases are going to learn his name this October. The 2 most famous batters in the lineup are William Contreras, one of the best hitting catchers in the game, and 2018 MVP Christian Yelich, who is slowed down at 34 years old but still does his job as an everyday starter. The Brewers winning games with this group of overlooked, inexpensive guys isn't an accident. It isn't luck. It's all a part of the Brewers' plan. Milwaukee's not a big market, there's no rich history of baseball success, and the owner is one of the least wealthy in the league. These guys, good or bad, never spend big. In an effort to even out payrolls and success, Major League Baseball officially pitched a hard salary floor of $171.2 million earlier this year, along with a cap of $245.3 million. Whether it passes in the future is unknown, but that's not the point. The point we're trying to make is that the Brewers, the winningest team in baseball going on 2 years now, spend so little that they are below the floor at $133 million projected in 2026. For reference, the Dodgers and Braves, the other two division leaders, are both above the proposed cap. LA is Milwaukee's stiffest competition right now, and the Brew Crew is keeping pace with the Dodgers despite about a $264 million discrepancy in 2026 payroll. Again, $264 million, and they're neck and neck for the NL 1 seed. Those numbers should terrify the rest of the majors. This Brewers team is young. In fact, it's the third youngest team in the league, with an average player age of just 27.2 years old. The pitching staff is fantastic and continues to improve. The offense, despite lacking power, gets on base and scores at an elite rate. The front office continues to develop players, and the club is in a safe spot financially. Now, imagine they finally buy at the deadline. Of course, they've already made a couple of moves, bringing in Lance McCullers and Colton Gordon to help reinforce an injury-hit rotation. McCullers is the name that jumps out at first, but in Gordon, the Brewers are surely eyeing up their next big transformation project for the lab. His high-spin slider and curveball are a nightmare for MLB hitters, and it'll be fascinating to see what he turns into after a date with the lab. Now, this depth is handy, of course, but to truly make some noise in the postseason, an even bigger swing before the deadline would be nice to see. Right? If there's ever a time, this is it. Maybe another elite pitcher, Joe Ryan or Tarek Skubal, could take this staff to the next level if they're willing to pay. Maybe they add power and go after someone like Mickey Moniak. The Brewers are already elite, and now they have options. As we've explored, this team is a force in the regular season, but hasn't broken through yet in October.
Caleb Durbin, the batter.
Freeland takes off. Durbin, a high fly ball to right. Pages. He is there, he's got it, and the ball game is over.
Last year, reaching the NLCS was incredible. It was a success. Things are different. Pat Murphy and company will be looking for more, looking for the first World Series title in franchise history. But they'll probably need another piece, because the Dodgers and their super team aren't going anywhere. The Milwaukee Brewers don't win the traditional way. They don't make flashy trades, they don't spend big or overpay. Even on the diamond, the work they do flies under the radar. They score with small ball, not the big fly. They develop unknown pitchers and turn them into monsters. This team has gone from lovable underdogs to legitimate contenders, and they're one big move away from becoming flat out terrifying. Adding another elite starter to help the rotation or another power bat to this already consistent lineup could be just what the Milwaukee Brewers need to assert themselves as not just an incredible story, but as the proven kings of the sport. Milwaukee is anxiously awaiting its first World Series ring. The 2026 Brewers might just be the team to deliver it. The question is, can they? Let us know what you think in the comments.